Hey guys. Okay, there's this. Um, had a dream. Turned out it was a Christ investigation, but I thought it was just a dream. So I'm going to tell you the whole dream and how it played out. And it was an investigation from Christ. Jesus Christ. All right, so this is how it goes. I go to sleep and I'm dreaming and I'm flying through the air. I'm I'm in fucking orbit. I'm in orbit and I'm beside a guy who has a parachute. And I guess I got one. And we're both I think I'm living his experience. But I'm looking at him. So don't ask me. Anyway, I'm flying and I'm parachuting down and I'm looking down at the earth. Literally. I mean, we're in orbit high, not normal. And we're flying down, and I go out over the ocean, and I can see the Great Lakes in North America and the Atlantic coast. And I'm over the fucking Atlantic. And I'm coming down. And the kid beside me is coming down. And we're both parachuting. And I'm like, and I'm getting ready to pass out because I'm afraid of heights. And it's real. And it was so fucking real. You wouldn't even believe it. The wind, the feel of it, everything was just so real. The guy couldn't pull his parachute next to me. He couldn't pull his parachute. He tried to pull it and it's flapping and it's on his back. And he's screaming at me and all this stuff. And he's yelling at me. And I don't know what the fuck is going on. I shouldn't be here because I'm afraid of heights. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyway, I'm looking down. He's going down and he starts maneuvering and stuff, doing his thing, trying to fix his fucking parachute. And as that's going on, I start to panic. As soon as I get to panicking, I wake up. Boom! I wake up. But I'm still dreaming. Now I'm in a house. And there's three guys sitting in front of me. The guy over there has got these long dreads hanging. The guy over here to the left of me, he's the one who's yelling at me. And there's another guy over here. This guy over here was the one in the parachute yelling at me. The guy over here seems to be coordinating the whole thing, but they're all accusing me of something. I don't know what. The guy with the dreads, he came to beat me up, and he's a big guy, a big giant guy. He's a guy these two hired to beat me up. So I'm listening to what they're saying, and they're saying I sabotage his. I fucked with his parachute, and that's why it wouldn't open. And these are my friends. All of a sudden, Christ comes into the dream, what I think is a dream. He comes and goes, well, we got the review and all this blah 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 blah. And I'm like, hold on. And this is my brain. Now I know this place. I used to live here with these guys. But now they're accusing me of opening his parachute. I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm still in the fucking dream. I ain't woke up my body yet. As Christ is talking, this guy's gonna beat the shit out of me to get the truth. The guy with the dreads. This guy, he believes these two guys. This guy, the guy over here, the parachuter guy, I'm like, how did you survive it if you fucking plunged into your death? And he goes, well, I do this, and the other thing, and I survived it. But it shouldn't have happened because they're blaming me for. So I wake up on my body, the dream goes away, but they're still there. I can still hear them. I'm listening to Jesus Christ now. Christ going, okay, Rich, I'll explain everything. Just calm down. And I'm like, who the hell do I got to fight now, right? And he goes, these three people are your friends. They accusing you of fucking with his parachute. And I go, okay. And I go, what about the dream where I was parachuting with him? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I was giving you his experience the day of the event of you, of him, and watching your responses. And I go, okay. And he goes, what you didn't see was before it happened. They were getting ready to go parachuting in St Lucian. These are people in St Lucian, I ask? And he goes, yeah, they're your friends in St Lucian. You live with them. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Fuck, I don't know any of these people in my head. Nothing. This is all new to me in my head. But my soul is living this in St. Lucian. They're accusing you, when he wasn't looking, you sabotaged his parachute. He's blaming you for on that. And I go, why the hell would I sabotage his parachute? And he goes, I don't know. They came to beat the shit out of you to get the truth. And I go, I don't. And I'm like, I look at my soul and I ask my soul, I'm awake now in bed. I ask my soul, did you fucking do this? And he goes, hell no. They're making it up. They're bullshitting. It wasn't me. They're just blaming me. And then Chris goes, I'm here to get to the truth. And so what they did was before he went parachuting, you were standing next to him as he was loading his parachute. And I go, okay. And I go, yeah. And he goes, but he turned away and went to the bathroom or something to get something. And that's what we needed to know. What did you do when he left the room? Did you sabotage it? And he goes, and I go, I have no fucking clue what's going on. And he goes, well, in the review, and I just seen it, you just stood there with your hands in your pocket. You didn't bend over to the parachute. You didn't do nothing. He came back, and you were exactly the same. You didn't touch his shit. And I go, okay, who do I got to beat up? That's all I'm thinking about here, my ego. I'm just thinking, who do I got to beat up? How tough is this guy that I got to fight in the dreads? And then probably his two fucking friends. Anyway, that's all I was worried about here. But the thing is, I remember this beautiful, us three guys lived in this place. My soul, my ego is living here in reality. Christ is reviewing an event that happened to see if I'm guilty. Turns out I'm not guilty. They don't believe it. It was his own fucking negligence that screwed up his parachute. They don't believe it. They're still going to beat me up. Well, Christ, and then the guy, they hired this big fucking dreadlock guy, big muscle guy, to beat me up. They hired him, so they're going to beat me up. Christ is like, well, good luck with that. Then my wife came. Christ came. Everybody came. The priestess came. They said, you can't fight Rich. He's going to kick your ass. You may hurt him a little bit, but he's going to kick your ass, and there's nothing you can do about it. And so I wouldn't even bother. And then they went and told him the guns and the illusion and all that stuff and what he can do and what he can't and all this stuff. Anyway. Then Christ sat down with the parachute guy that hired Dreadlock to beat the shit out of me. Said, come over here. We need to have a chat. Said, you don't want to do this. This is not going to be good. Then he went on and told him a bunch of shit. I wasn't there listening. So I'm talking to my wife. Christ is over there talking to the guy. I'm laying in my bed wide awake watching all this. Trying to figure out what's going on. The guy, so I'm not guilty. So I asked my wife, I go, so I used to live here with these guys? And she said, yeah. And then he used to go parachuting. That's what he liked to do. but his parachute didn't open, and they're accusing you of it, of the event. But he didn't die or anything. I'm like, Jesus Christ. So this is something I didn't even experience. She goes, yes, you did. You experienced it. I go, not here in my brain. This is the first time I've ever heard of any of this shit. And she's like, well, you're living in the illusion. And I'm like, geez, stop with the illusion, man. Everything is a fucking illusion. I go, say meat world, just so I can make a fucking mental framework of events, okay? I know my soul does other things that I'm unaware of in my brain. This is one of them. I need meat world and St. Lucian world and the illusion. 3 separate things. I gotta do that in my head. I can't help it. That's the way I gotta do it. So anyway, she goes, yeah, Christ made you experience what he went through so he could see your reaction when you were parachuting through the air. And you were like, what's going on? You didn't even know what was happening. You didn't even respond to his distress, which means you weren't laughing. You weren't having you didn't do it. That's evidence to Christ. And I'm like, and she goes, well, when he left the room and you were beside the parachute, you didn't bend down, you didn't touch it, you didn't do anything, your hands didn't move. So you didn't do it. It was his own fucking, he packed it wrong, but they won't accept it. And they hired this guy, the dreads, to beat the shit out of you. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. And that's what's going on right now. You're about to get your ass kicked, but Jesus intervened and said, look, I'll get to the truth. And this is what's happening. You just dreamt about it and you woke up in your fucking bed. So, there's that. I just made this little video to point out things your fucking soul does. There's a whole drama going on under your head. Your soul's doing things, getting his shit, getting accused, gotta fight, gotta do this. And you just walk around watching a hockey game, going to work, going to the bank, going to the grocery store. There's a whole other world going on. What I did in that dream was tapped into events as they were happening, as they were playing out. What startled me was I'm afraid of heights. So that was it for me, man. And the reason I'm making this video is because a guy on Facebook, my bud, when he is afraid of heights, so we always send height videos to each other to freak each other out. You don't like heights and I don't like heights. So that's what we do. Send videos back and forth. It's really funny. But anyway. I guess you had to be there. Anyway, that's what we do. But then all of a sudden this dream happened, but it wasn't a dream. It was Christ was doing a review of that day that he went parachuting. And his parachute wouldn't open. So he's accusing me of fucking with his parachute. And Christ was Christ was sharing his experience with me, but I was separate from his experience. So the kid is having his experience falling, couldn't open his parachute. He's freaking out, screaming, trying to open his parachute. But I was flying beside him. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? What does this mean? What the fuck? So they wanted to know my reaction to what supposedly I caused. Not guilty. Then they showed me standing beside him, packing his parachute. And all this was something my soul did years ago. Because I haven't lived at this place with these two guys for years. A long ass time. Even before. I think this happened before I breached my skins and see the spirit world in St. Lucian. So this is what you do in St. Lucian. But the thing I'm making a video about is you can go parachuting in St. Lucian. People actually parachute in St. Lucian. And man, when they go parachuting, it ain't from a fucking plane at 40,000, 70,000 feet. It's fucking orbit. Like I could see the curve of the earth. Left in front of me, left and right. See the Atlantic Ocean. Fucking Great Lakes were this big. This kid's falling for a half an hour. Freak me out, man. I'm like, the fucking, oh, it was so fucking real, you wouldn't believe it. You could smell it, you could feel it, ice cold. Anyway, just thought I'd say, fun in the spirit world. So when you die, just know, go to St Lucian and you can go parachuting if that's what you like to do. And I'm not guilty, but they still want to fight. So who knows what's going to happen. Later, guys.